a man, desperate to continue his family line, forcibly captured a female wolf from the mountain. After spending days and nights with the wolf, her belly began to grow larger. The man was overjoyed rather than frightened. He planned to host a feast for the villagers. However, that night he died from a bacterial infection. 2 days later, a feng shui master passed by. Upon hearing the story, he shook his head. He warned the villagers of impending disaster. A human wolf offspring would be born without emotion, loving only bloodshed. It would bring great calamity to the village. The villagers drove the wolf away that night. The pregnant wolf retreated deep into the mountains. After 2.5 years, she gave birth to her child. The child was born in heavy winter snow. The wolf mother stayed in her den, keeping her baby warm with her fur. After several days, the baby was nearly frozen to death. An old herb gatherer found the baby. The wolf mother watched as her child was taken away. That old man became the child's master. Later, learning about his mother, the child searched the mountains several times. But no trace of the wolf was ever found. Something strange occurred though. While the village was poor and children went hungry, the child always had fresh meat to eat. Dead monkeys would appear whenever the child went to the mountains. The master never questioned this. The truth was revealed only after an old hunter's death. The master was famous in the region. One day, an anxious hunter came seeking help, but the master was away. The hunter paced anxiously, unlike a regular fortune-telling visit. The child asked what was wrong. After hesitating, the hunter asked Tian, "Having traveled with your master, how much do you know about those things?" The child nodded, understanding he meant supernatural matters. "Look at my arm, what's wrong with it?" The hunter rolled up his sleeve, revealing a deep wound like a beast's bite. It appeared to be from a wild animal attack. The child asked urgently what happened. 2 days ago, while hunting, he'd shot a lone wolf. Thinking it would fetch a good price, he killed it. But the wolf suddenly revived and bit him before escaping. The wound wouldn't heal and caused unbearable pain at night. Fearing supernatural forces, he came seeking help. The child demanded to know where this happened. The hunter smiled strangely, thinking the child wanted to hunt wolves. The child shouted angrily for the location. Trembling with fear, the hunter offered to lead the way. The child grabbed a medical kit and followed the hunter out. Their village was close to the mountain. Following Uncle Zhang, they ran for about an hour. Finally, they arrived at the place Uncle Zhang mentioned. It was under a big tree. Beneath the tree, there was a clear blood stain. His heart sank instantly. Not only shot but lost so much blood. He worried if something happened to the wolf. His heart was unsettled. Following the blood trail, he quickly started searching. He kept calling out while searching. But by nightfall, they still found nothing. He was very anxious. If not for Wolf Mother, he would have died long ago. Fearing he might get lost, Uncle Zhang kept following him. At 6 o'clock, Master called him. He tearfully told Master everything. When Master came up the mountain with a flashlight, it was already past 9 at night. Uncle Zhang immediately greeted Master upon arrival, then showed his arm to Master. Master just took one look, and coldly said, "Go home and apply boy's urine for one night. Remember, on this mountain, no more hunting. If anything happens again due to hunting, don't come to me." Master's words carried great authority. Uncle Zhang repeatedly agreed, then muttered something and went down the mountain. Sitting under that tree, he faintly heard Master say, "Karma cycles. Life pays for life. Young Vong, I fear tonight." After a few minutes of Master's words, Master sighed, walked over and said, "Don't worry. If it's really her, with her abilities, unless it's special bullets, she'll be fine." Hearing Master's words, he immediately cheered up. "Really?" Master looked at him and nodded with a smile. "It's getting late. Let's go back first." Worried, he left the medical kit under the big tree, shouting loudly, "Mom, I'm leaving these things here." While walking down, he kept looking back, but didn't hear any sound. He felt somewhat disappointed. She saved his life when he was young. But now that he's grown up, she won't even meet him once, riding Master's electric bike. On their way back, it was already midnight. Neither he nor Master had eaten. Master quickly cooked some simple dishes. After eating, they each went to their rooms to sleep. That night, while half asleep, he felt his face itching, as if something furry was touching his face. He tried to open his eyes, but couldn't, so he fell back asleep. Early morning, when he opened the shop door, he found a recently dead wild rabbit at the entrance. Curiously, he picked out the rabbit and discovered the medical kit behind it. Seeing the medical kit, his eyes immediately turned red. It was the same kit he left under the tree yesterday. His mother had visited him last night. She came to let him know she was all right. He wept with joy. Taking the rabbit, he went to find Master. But when Master saw the rabbit, his face darkened. Shouting, "From now on, these delivered things, we won't eat them anymore. Some things we can't mess with." He found these words strange. Master usually enjoyed wild game, yet now said such things. And who were these things Master mentioned? Having slept well last night, he thought about giving the rabbit to little Juan next door, then going to the market to buy vegetables. When he returned, Master still looked stern. He didn't think much of it. Someone asked Master to do fortune-telling today, but Master said, "Something's coming up, won't go." He wondered what might happen today. Sure enough, in the afternoon, the village chief suddenly came in. Master immediately went to greet him. The chief looked at Master and sighed. "Old Lee, come with me to Old Dane's house. Old Don died at home. Just discovered today. We're all from the same village. Let's help arrange his funeral." He was startled after hearing this. The old Don mentioned by the village chief was Uncle John, who visited him yesterday. How could he suddenly die? "All right, village chief, you go ahead first. I'll gather some things and come over." The Master spoke calmly, as if he already knew about it. After the village chief left, the Master's face immediately darkened. He gathered some items, feeling sad about Uncle Jane's death. He brought out a box containing items needed for the burial. Having attended funerals with the Master before, he packed quickly. After packing, he prepared to go with the Master, but the Master took the box himself. The Master told him to stay home and not go anywhere. Then the Master rode his electric bike alone to Uncle Jane's house. He stood there stunned for a while, wondering why the Master didn't take him along this time. It seemed strange, as the Master always brought him to funerals before. The Master returned around 10 p.m. and immediately said coldly, "Shao Tian, you are not allowed to go up the mountain anymore. Do you understand?" "But Master, my mother," he said, confused. "It's just a cold-blooded animal, not your mother," the Master said coldly. He was stunned. The Master had never spoken like this before. After a moment of silence, the Master sighed and said, "Shao Tian, you'll understand some things later." The next morning, the Master went to handle Uncle Jane's funeral matters while he stayed to watch the shop. Around 6 p.m., a woman walked in wearing rural clothes. She seemed to have an injured leg and was limping. He quickly went to greet her. "Auntie, are you here for fortune-telling? My master is out and we don't do readings at night." "I know," the woman nodded, and he looked at her puzzled. "It's nothing major, just my injured leg. Could you help treat it?" she said. She rolled up her pants to reveal a bleeding circular wound. He wondered why a rural woman would have what appeared to be a gunshot wound. Still, he quickly brought the medical kit and examined her wound. He found the bullet was still inside. "Auntie, the bullet is still in there and I don't have anesthesia. Let me take you to the hospital." Without anesthesia, even a man couldn't handle bullet removal, let alone a woman. "No need, I came specifically to find you. Please help me." Seeing her determination, he reluctantly agreed. By the time he extracted the bullet, there was blood everywhere. A normal person would have fainted from pain, but she didn't make a sound. He bandaged her wound and applied herbs his master had gathered from the mountain. The woman got up and walked out, but then returned with 2 wild rabbits. He found it strange how easily a woman catch wild rabbit and chew at that. "Not enough, I'll bring more later," the woman said, looking at him. "No need, auntie, keep them for yourself." You don't want my gifts anymore. Her voice changed as her eyes narrowed. He was confused. This was definitely their first meeting and she wasn't from their village, yet she spoke as if she regularly brought him gifts. He just gave her a simple treatment. She really didn't need to do this, he said helplessly. The woman just gave him a deep look, then walked out without saying a word. He reached out to stop her, but she had already left. He sighed helplessly. There was a large pool of blood on the ground. He went to get a mop to clean it up. At this moment, his master walked in. He looked at the blood on the ground, then sniffed with his nose. Immediately walked over with a grim expression. Xiao Tian. Who came just now? A woman in her 40s just visited. He told his master truthfully. The master stopped after hearing this. What woman? That was your mother coming to see you. Hearing his master's words, he was startled. He knew exactly what his master meant. That woman was the mother wolf. Seeing his pale face, the master walked over. What did she say to you? He felt panicked and at a loss. His mother came to see him, but why didn't she say so directly? He told his master everything his mother said. The master stopped and looked outside. Humans have their way, demons have theirs. If you really care for Xiao Tian, don't come again. The master's voice was loud. After that day, no more rabbits appeared at their door. Until one noon, the village chief walked in with a worried face. The master was in that day and went to greet him. Old Li Chong, the carpenter at the village entrance, is dead. Please help handle it. The village chief's voice was strange, as if he had seen something horrifying. The master frowned and asked how Chong died. He was curious too, as he had secretly read Chen's fortune before. While not destined for extreme longevity, he should have lived to at least 70 or 80. But Chong wasn't even 40 yet. The village chief shook his head, pale-faced, saying he couldn't explain what happened. The master urged him to speak directly. Curious, he listened as the village chief hesitated before speaking, shaking. It seemed Chong wasn't killed by himself or others, but by some beast. His entire chest was hollowed out. It was terrifying. The master's face darkened as he gathered funeral supplies and left with the village chief. Before leaving, he stared at his apprentice gravely, telling him to stay in the shop, and if she comes again, tell her these actions will bring divine punishment. He was left standing there, confused. Chong wasn't killed by his mother, but why would she kill people? He sat dazed in the shop all afternoon until a storm began outside. When he came to, it was already 7 or 8 in the evening. Worried his master couldn't return, he closed shop and took an umbrella to fetch him. Though really, he wanted to see how Chong had died. At Chen's house, since the death was just discovered, nothing was prepared yet. Chen's body lay on a wooden board covered with white cloth. There weren't many people in the mourning hall, and his master wasn't there. He walked to Chen's body and slowly lifted the white cloth. What met his eyes was a deathly pale face. His eyes widened in terror, staring intently at her, as if she was responsible for his death. Such a horrifying sight made her jump. But to find out if her mother killed him, she had to continue pulling back the white cloth. Just then, master's cold voice came through. Xiao Tian, why are you here? Weren't you supposed to watch the shop? The sudden voice made her step back in fright. She turned pale as she looked at master, her trembling hand pointing at Carpenter Chen. His eyes won't close. He died so horribly. Of course they won't close. Master snorted and walked over, then looked at her seriously. Did she come today? She knew master meant wolf mother. She shook her head with teary eyes. Master saw her response, then said, Go home for today. Prepare well tomorrow to go up the mountain. Why go up the mountain? She sensed something wrong in master's tone. Why else? A life for a life. Debts must be paid. Master left these words, took the umbrella from her hand and walked away. She stood there helplessly, mind in chaos. She walked to Carpenter Chen's body, lifted the white cloth covering it. His entire chest cavity was torn open, as if ripped apart by some force. Seeing such a death, her last glimmer of hope shattered. She didn't remember how she got back, but knew Wolf Mother couldn't die. Back home, she packed some things, then snuck out of her room. Running toward the mountain, she ran alone with a flashlight. The mountain was right behind their village, but passed through a graveyard, where villagers were buried after death. Since Uncle John died recently, the path was covered with stones. White paths stretched into the darkness, making it feel eerie. She quickened her pace, but no matter how fast she ran, the distant mounds stood out starkly in the night, making everything seem sinister. Master said, after death, souls linger nearby. Working with Master all this time, she'd never seen a ghost, but that didn't mean they weren't real. Uncle John died just days ago, just as she wanted to run through. A piercing sound cut through the sky. An eerie laugh reached her ears. The sudden sound startled her. She instinctively raised her flashlight, shining it toward the source. A pair of eyes stared back at her. She almost screamed. Looking closer, it was just an owl on a grave, watching her, making human-like eerie sound. In this wild place, such sounds were terrifying. Fortunately, she was brave, or she would have run away. The owl stare made her skin crawl, so she picked up a stone and threw it at the owl. The owl flew away dodging. She shook her head, ready to continue, when she heard another sound. The stone seemed to hit a wooden board. She reflexively shone her light there. The light revealed a new headstone, with Xiang Xuquan's name. Isn't this Uncle Jane's grave? She sighed internally, wanting to pay respect, but noticed behind the headstone what seemed like a hole. She widened her eyes, rushing over, found Uncle Jane's grave had been dug up, revealing the black coffin inside. Her thrown stone lay right on top. She was shocked. Why was Uncle Jane's coffin dug up? Fighting the urge to run, she gritted her teeth and moved closer. He repeatedly shone the flashlight around, and discovered an old woman in a long robe in the darkness. She was digging a grave with her hand. When the light shone on her, she looked up. "Grandma, what are you doing here?" he asked with a trembling voice. She replied in a sharp tone, "I'm hungry, looking for food." After saying this, she continued digging Uncle Jane's grave, as if digging graves at midnight was perfectly normal. His legs trembled upon hearing this. What's there to eat in a grave? Fighting his fear, he took out bread and shakily offered it. "Grandma, eat this instead, it's good." "This dry thing, don't bother me." Old Lady Lu looked at the bread impatiently. He quickly withdrew his hand as she continued digging. He stood there helplessly. Uncle John was from the same village. He couldn't just watch his grave being dug up. He continued through gritted teeth. "Grandma. Don't call me Grandma, call me Lady Lu." The old woman snapped, suddenly looking up, staring straight at him. That stare made his hair stand on end. After a few seconds, she stood up and slowly walked toward him. "Not that, you're Grey Girl's child, aren't you?" The old woman's voice softened slightly. He was confused. Was Grey Girl his wolf mother? Did she know his mother? If she wanted to be called Lady Lu, she must be a snake. No wonder she was looking for food in graveyard. While he was pondering, she continued, "Tell my fortune. See how many years this old woman has left." His face turned pale, knowing she was a spirit. How could he read fortunes for supernatural beings? He stammered, "Lady Lu, you know my mother. At least you know to call her mother. Why fear this old woman then?" A strange look crossed her face. He awkwardly shook his head. If she really knew his mother, she might spare him. "Let me start," the old woman urged. He reluctantly began studying Lady Lu's feature. After a while, he carefully said, "You have about 10 years left." "Be more precise, child." Her voice grew sharp. Her eyes turned green, appearing angry. He looked closer and forced himself to say, "You have exactly 10 years, Lady Lu." Her green eyes fixed on him intensely before she sighed. "That matches my estimate." He relaxed. Instead of continuing to dig, she looked at him and said, "I'll return in a month. Hope you'll give this old woman hope then. For your sake, I'll leave this body intact. Remember, Grey Girl is your mother. If you ever harm her, I'll dig up your grave when you die and eat your flesh." Then she vanished into the night. He stood frozen before sighing and reburying Uncle Jane's grave. Finally showing mercy to the villager, he continued up the mountain. Late at night, he reached the big tree where his mother was injured. He called out, "Mom, I'm here to see you. Come out and see me." But there was no response. He felt very anxious. Then shouted, "Mom, Master is coming for you. Hide when you hear this." Until his voice was hoarse. His mother still hadn't appeared. Was she angry? Because he refused her gifts? He smiled bitterly. Seeing dawn approaching, he had to hurry back. Even if his mother didn't hear, coming up with Master today might save her life at a critical moment. With this thought, he ran home. Upon arriving, he tiptoed back to his room, took a shower, changed clothes and went to buy breakfast. Returned to see Master coming out of his room. He handed over the breakfast. Master glanced at him. Taking the breakfast. "Xiaotian, get ready. Pack your things. We're heading up the mountain," Master said coldly. Hearing Master's cold tone, his heart sank. It seemed Master was determined to kill his mother. Could we let that cold-blooded creature go? What about the 2 lives lost in the village? Who will pay? Master sneered, staring at him asking. Murder demands retribution. Animals, are they exempt? He was speechless. His mother did kill them, but he wouldn't let her die. After saying this, Master started eating breakfast. Later, Master shouldered his hunting rifle. He stood up, following behind Master. No matter what, if Master tried to harm his mother, he would fight to death to protect her. Just as they left, a black Mercedes approached from afar, stopping at the shop entrance. A smiling man quickly walked towards Master. The man wore a suit, clearly a wealthy person. Upon approaching, he respectfully looked at Master. "Master Li, hello. Mr. Zhang recommended me. I called last week about coming today for your help." Hearing this, he curiously observed the man, noticing a red spot between his nostrils. Fortune tellers consider this an omen. Moreover, his nose was large, with a gap, his cheekbones slightly asymmetrical, with fierce features, suggesting he was ruthless in business. A dangerous man. His fortune seemed dark, indicating recent troubles, possibly involving life-threatening matter. Master glanced at him, directly refusing. "Not today. Come back next week." Hearing this, the man trembled. "Master, I made an appointment last week. Besides, my company matter is urgent. Could you spare some time today? Guide me. If it's company business, I'll read your fortune now." Master smirked. The man looked embarrassed, could only smile and say, "I'll be back next Monday." After saying this, he returned to his car, quickly leaving Xiaotian. "What do you think?" After he left, Master suddenly asked. Without hesitation, he shared his analysis. Master nodded, then shook his head. "You missed 1 point. He is involved in a murder case, but not directly. He's just implicated." Hearing this, he recalled the man. Though his forehead was dark, there was a red spot in the middle. The skin would heal if broken. Simply put, his luck was bad recently. But change would come. That change would be next Monday. Master watched the black Mercedes leave. He paused for a moment, suddenly turned and looked at her. "When little Tian comes on Monday, you'll do the reading for him, because I might not be back on Monday." The master's voice was very calm. Hearing these words, she was stunned. What did he mean by not coming back? She felt confused. The master didn't explain further. Got on his electric bike. She quickly locked up the shop, following behind him up the road. The master remained silent throughout. Half an hour later, they reached the foot of the mountain. The master hesitated at the mountain path. He took out 3 sandalwood incense sticks, planted them in the ground in a row, then lit the incense. But they went out as soon as they were lit. Having followed the master for so long, she knew what he was doing. He was asking permission from the mountain god. Every mountain, big or small, has its mountain god. who controls everything on the mountain. They were going to catch her mother taking something from the mountain god. So they needed to burn incense to inform the deity. But now all 3 sticks went out immediately. Clearly the mountain god refused. If approved, the incense would burn completely. The master looked at the incense sticks. His expression darkened. They are indeed in league. Xiao Tian. Let's go up, the master snorted. And strode forward. She was shocked. Ignoring the mountain god's will. Carrying the hunting rifle. Up the mountain. Master, aren't you afraid? The mountain god's appearance would be serious. Seeing the master walk away, she hurried to follow. She couldn't stop him from going up, but she could prevent him from harming her mother. Things felt wrong after half an hour. Along the way, they encountered 7 or 8 poisonous snakes. Even a fierce wild boar. Though the master scared them away. These creatures rarely appeared before. Because of her mother. She usually had clear passage up the mountain. Now the mountain god wasn't showing favor. From another perspective, the deity was protecting her mother. This somewhat calmed her. But the master's face grew darker. The dangerous encounters became more frequent. Several snakes nearly bit the master. He shot a snake's tail, breaking his no-killing rule. Only then did the snakes retreat. She felt relieved. By noon they hadn't found anything. They rested under a large tree. Seeing his grim face, she didn't dare speak, afraid to upset him further. He raised her from childhood. His temper, she knew well. She could only offer him food from her bag. He glanced at her, taking it. After 10 minutes rest, they continued searching. In the afternoon, the master barely appeared. The journey was peaceful. She felt relieved. The mountain god's anger seemed to fade, but must have warned her mother. The master had her hide. No matter how skilled he was, he couldn't find her mother. Indeed, they searched until night without seeing any trace. She was completely relieved. It was very dark. She thought he'd return today, come back tomorrow. But to her surprise, he started setting up tent. Xiao Tian, help out. We'll sleep here tonight. The master called to her. She could only nod and go. The tent was quickly set up. The master told her to wait, while he went alone to gather firewood and fruit. After returning, starting the fire, they sat by the fire, one hand holding bread, the other wild fruit, eating slowly. After finishing, the master scattered some powder around the area, but he was holding back any fear. The master told him to rest first, while he kept watch, but he couldn't fall asleep. He suggested the master sleep instead, but sleep wouldn't come. Just nodded. He went into the tent to rest. Soon after, the master's snoring reached his ears. He sat by the master's fire, wide awake. He wondered about yesterday evening, when his mother disappeared. Was she angry? Or because of the master's words, she deliberately kept her distance? While deep in thought, a rustling sound came from afar. His heart jumped. He quickly looked over. In the darkness, a pair of green eyes slowly appeared. The sudden appearance startled him. He dared not move, fearing it might pounce suddenly. He spotted a wooden stick nearby, quickly grabbed it. But then, those eyes vanished into the darkness. Cold sweat covered his shot body. As he turned to wake the master was already standing behind him. The master stared where the green eyes had been. With unprecedented focus, "Little Sky, go sleep." But master, just now, he wanted to say, "There must be beasts watching us." But the master waved his hand. "Master knows, go sleep." Hearing this, he could only enter the tent, tossing and turning for a long while, before finally drifting off. Early next morning, the master's cry woke him. The voice was faint, filled with pain. His heart jumped. He quickly got up and ran out. The scene was chaotic. Blood everywhere. His face turned pale. Looking around frantically, found the master lying in a pool of blood, face white as paper. He ran over like mad. Helped the master up to head downhill. Go. Met an uncle from the village, who was heading to town. This uncle had sought fortune-telling from master before. Turned pale at the sight. Coming to his senses, quickly started his three-wheeler. Took them to the town hospital. At the town hospital, due to severe injuries, had to transfer to the city hospital. Finally got the master into emergency. Thinking of master's wounds, he had to blame his mother. Did she know master wanted to kill her? And struck while he slept. Lost in thought, he dozed off. Time passed. The doctor woke him, saying, master was safe, but lost too much blood. Unknown when he'd wake. Daily medical fees would be over 3,000. The news struck like lightning. Master's fortune-telling only earned dozens or hundreds. With yearly tuition for him, savings were limited. After a day and night of emergency care, all master's savings were gone. Now with daily fees over 3,000, where could he find it? Dazed, he returned to the shop. Searched everywhere. Found less than 1,000. Borrowed 2,000 from the village chief. With villagers' donations, gathered about 5 至6千. Rushed it to the hospital. Hurried in to see master. His face completely pale. Still sleeping. Seeing master's condition, he broke down crying. Couldn't stay long, left for home. Passing that mountain, he ran up shouting, Mom! Why did you hurt my master? He raised me. He shouted for a long time. His voice became hoarse. But there was no response. He had to helplessly go back downstairs to the shop. He tidied up the shop and opened for business. He knew the daily medical expenses of over 3,000. Could only rely on master's shop now. If he could gather 1,000 or 2,000 daily to send to the hospital. If master wakes up, things should be fine. When master wakes up, he will tell him what to do. He cleaned himself up and put on clean clothes. Master once said, in fortune-telling, appearance matters. Being young, he couldn't match master's aura. But he tried his best to emulate it. Some villagers came to buy worship items. The whole morning earned just over 100. Many laughed when they saw it wasn't master in the chair. They laughed without saying much. He felt disappointed. At this rate, how could he gather 1,000 or 2,000 daily? Just as he was feeling helpless, a black Mercedes arrived. His eyes lit up. Isn't this the person who came for master's fortune-telling days ago? He's here today. He sighed deeply. Perhaps master had foreseen this moment. That's why he let him handle fortune-telling. The man entered, looking around, then asked if Master Li was here. He calmly replied, Master is hospitalized. The man looked surprised, disappointed. What bad timing. Your master asked me to come today. Master has instructed me about your visit today. I can help you. He watched the man's calm expression, who looked back suspiciously. The man was about to leave. He felt anxious inside, but maintained a slight smile. Sir, you're leaving just like this. Aren't you worried about consequences? The man gave him a deep look, still doubting if he could really tell fortunes. He gestured for him to sit. The man hesitated, but sat down. He felt relieved. Looking at him asked, May I know your surname? I'm 39 this year. The man answered. He nodded, looking at him. Master has already instructed me. I will read your fortune well. In my master's tradition, there are 4 types of readings: face, hand, bone, and energy reading, and spirit reading. Which would you prefer? The man hesitated. Let's do face reading. My friend who referred me said your master excels at it. That friend overcame difficulties thanks to your master's guidance. I analyzed his facial feature. He's someone who takes advantage of others. So his involvement in a murder case makes sense. When one does many wrongs, karma naturally brings consequences. But now the red mark on his forehead is fading, showing this incident will pass without harm. No need for further action. But his mistake was acting rashly. From his wealth line, he clearly lost money recently. To avoid involvement, he paid many bribes. This financial loss marks the start of his karma. Minutes later, he started speaking. Mr. Zhang, your face shows you should stay home for 3 days. No need to do anything. Things will resolve naturally. That's simple. Zhang Hao was stunned. He nodded, reminding him, avoid underhanded dealings, or it will backfire. Zhang Hao was surprised. You mean I shouldn't make arrangements? He nodded. Your face shows frost in autumn. Spring breeze approaches, meaning you need do nothing. Don't worry about other issues. This murder case isn't your concern. Yet you anxiously made arrangements. It naturally caught some people's attention. Zhang Hao pondered for a moment. He suddenly realized something. Then his face immediately showed concern. Young master, may I know your surname? My surname is Li Tianming, he answered with a smile. Zhang Hao seemed very pleased. He kept addressing him as Master Li. You're too kind. Just call me Li Tian. Li Tian waved his hand hurriedly. All right then. Come find me if you need anything. Zhang Hao smiled. He took out a red envelope from his bag and placed it on the table. Li Tian glanced at it. It was at least 2,000 yuan. His master only charged 300 for each consultation. He didn't dare to charge so much. No, master's reputation. Mr. Zhang. This is too much. Not at all. Zhang Hao shook his head with a smile. I'll have more matters in the future. I hope you can give me more guidance then. Li Tian understood the meaning behind his words. He knew he had done many bad things. He probably wanted to buy peace of mind. Li Tian hesitated, finally accepted the money with thanks. Zhang Hao still lingered. He seemed to have something else to say, then turned to leave after saying goodbye. Li Tian hesitated, called out. Zhang Hao turned back doubtfully. Yes. Young master, anything else? Li Tian hesitated. Mr. Zhang, your marriage may face some changes soon. What do you mean? Zhang Hao stared at him, startled. Li Tian remained silent. Instead pointed at his head. Zhang Hao's face first showed surprise, then took a deep breath. Thank you for the guidance. He hurriedly left after saying that. Li Tian sighed in relief. Some things were better left unsaid. Zhang Hao was weak in that aspect. That's why his head showed green. After he left, Li Tian counted the money. A full 3,000 yuan. After lunch, he continued sitting in the shop. In the afternoon, a fashionably dressed beautiful woman walked in. He was surprised. Such fashionable women rarely appeared in the village. He stood up curiously. Miss, how can I help? The woman glanced at him, sat down directly and said, My husband beat me. I want a divorce, but he refuses. I want you to tell me when my husband will die. Li Tian was stunned. What kind of fortune-telling? Predict someone's death. But business is business. He had no reason to refuse. Cleared his throat. He tentatively asked, Did you bring your husband's photo? Or his birth date? The woman shook her head. Can't you tell from face and palm reading? Just help me like this. She nodded. Show me your palm. After a few minutes, he frowned. From her palm lines, she was unfaithful in marriage. Had affairs with several men. The exact number unclear. Being unfaithful herself, yet hoping for her husband's death seemed quite selfish and cruel. Her marriage line indeed showed a break, indicating only one marriage in life. And her husband would indeed die. He paused, looking at her. Your husband will die. But there's no clear indication of when. The woman nodded. Her voice showed no sadness. He sighed inwardly. Meeting such a woman was unfortunate for any man. Will I marry again? The woman continued asking. No. You only have one marriage in life. The woman fell silent. Suddenly stared at him. Indeed quite accurate. Miss, what do you mean? He asked instinctively. He was sure this was his first time seeing her. Don't you remember? This morning, you read my husband's fortune. You specifically warned him that I was unfaithful. Have you forgotten so quickly? The woman looked at him, sneering. He was startled upon hearing this. Her husband was Zhang Hao from this morning. Is he really trying to cause trouble for her now? The woman stared at her for a while, finding her unusually calm. Her eyes shifted. and she let out a strange cold snort. Don't worry. I'm not here to cause you trouble. Thankfully you told my husband, so I don't have to sneak around anymore. Being so careful. Now I can openly date men. She was speechless at these words. Zhang Hao was really unlucky to have such a wife. The woman, after saying this, took out a stack of red bills and threw them at her. Then let out a coquettish laugh, and swayed away on her long leg. Walking out, she carefully put the money in her pocket. The woman came back again. I want to ask you something else. Do you understand that?